Hello everyone and welcome to another building tutorial. Today I'm going to be walking you through how to build this beautiful treehouse on just a regular sapling tree that we are going to customize. Let's get started. Alright, so obviously speaking, first thing we need are trees. I have two trees here. They are just perfectly grown from a sapling and some bone meal. If you're in a jungle, then this will be a lot easier for you. First thing I'm going to do at the base of each of these trees is actually customize them. You can do this kind of however you want, basically just expanding the base and adding some roots. If you have some water or anything near you, you can also use this to your advantage, making some cool shapes, kind of sink it into the ground at spots. Don't go too insanely thick with this because we do want to be able to place a staircase around here. You know, just some little touches of detail. It doesn't have to be much. Even this is a little bit too much. Let's see. Yeah, just simple like that. Now that your trees have roots, it's time to plan out how we're going to get up into the main part of the tree. For this, we're going to be grabbing our spruce slabs. Again, you can use pretty much any color wood for this. I'm just choosing my preference. I'm going to start on one of these roots, probably this one right here, and we're just going to kind of stagger this upwards, trying to do it in a very organic way. Whenever we get to a corner like this, we're just going to kind of flatten it out a little bit here and slowly curve it upwards. It might be a little awkward in areas, but as you can see, you can usually make it work with a little bit of pressure, just like so. Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is meant to look a little bit rugged and like it's been in a jungle and is overgrown, so try not to stress over this part too much and getting all of the shapes perfectly correct. Just wind it up slowly and steadily. On this tree here, I'm going to be winding this staircase only to the very first branch. This tree has a few too many branches for me to have space for like a house with a roof, so I'm going to remove this second branch up. Again, this step is going to depend on what your tree looks like. Just go to your first branch and then make sure there's room above it. I'm going to leave that branch right there for now. This is a good enough gap. It's about 4 blocks. Should do the trick. I am, however, going to remove the leaves from this branch so that we have some room to build. If you're in survival mode, use some shears here so that you can get these leaves and replace them in the next step. Alright, so I've round my staircase around so that it is on the same level as this branch right here. But as you'll notice, the branch is intercepting this. So I'm going to take my wood now and keeping this in the same position, just going to raise it up a little bit and bring it out pretty much flat across. Maybe flaring it out on the end just to give us a little bit of this support beam that looks like it's coming out of the tree. We'll still be able to walk underneath it perfectly fine. Now I'm going to grab my stripped spruce log, and this is going to be the main foundational points of my first treehouse. So, taking this full block like so and just pulling it out from the tree. Make sure that you are going to be able to walk in under that wherever you're placing it. I'm going to come out this way as well with it, and then out like this, making a square. This platform can be literally any size that you want it to be. It just has to kind of look like it's stuck onto the tree. For me, I went for a space of 4 and a space of 3. So 3 by 4 with little crosses in each corner. Again, this is completely variable. You can do it literally whatever size you want. Then just fill in the flooring with some slabs. On each of the corners, I'm going to bring it up by 3. And there you have it. That is our first platform. Now, for the next layer, I'm going to incorporate this branch right here. I'm actually going to bring across a little bit of a pathway right here so that you can leave this house and head off onto this branch as almost a little bit of a balcony. We'll come back to this in just a moment when we put up a higher platform, but for now, let's focus on this one and get this all detailed and in place with a roof. For my roof, I'm going to be using some smooth sandstone, some granite, and some bricks. Doesn't really matter what you use, but I do recommend a block with a very bright edge. Now I'm going to completely randomly go along the edge of this treehouse and just place these slabs going up and down and kind of really don't be afraid to make a mess of it. Vary it as much as you can. You want it to be kind of messy. You want it to really fit in with the leaves and everything that's going on. So as messy as possible, don't try for symmetry here is my advice. Once you've got a good edge going all the way along your support, then all you have to do is fill it in. going to just go all the way around here with some granite and just kind of completely fill it in. We are going to bring it all the way across and then raise it up a little bit at the top. Again, this is going to be messy. Nothing perfect going on here. I want you to let it be free and messy and crazy and just whatever you want. It really doesn't have to be perfect. And now to mix up the texturing a little bit, we're just going to add in some brick in different spots. That is perfect. That looks a lot more natural. And for a railing, we're going to grab either some fence or a trapdoor. My preference here is the trapdoor, but I tend to vary it on each house. And just go along the edge and give yourself a little railing. If you want it to be super safe, you could also just fill this in with maybe some wall blocks or fully fill it in with fence so that no mobs can get you. But this is pretty safe, especially if you're sleeping through the night. Now, for our next layer right here, we have this balcony that is on this awkward branch. We do need to fill this branch in with some leaves, but we'll get to that just in a moment. For now, I'm actually going to grab a ladder, and this ladder is going to be what brings us up into the next layer. So taking us to just below the very top of this tree. I'm about 5 blocks below it, and that's where I'm going to put my next layer of flooring. So again, it's going to be sitting on this branch right here. I'm going to remove some leaves from it so that I can customize this branch to better support my structure. Using my jungle wood, once again, just gonna kind of copy that shape that it had, but bring it out a little bit further. We'll add some leaves to this a little bit later on. Let's also bring a branch going downwards. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Now let's worry about the structure itself. Big support beam coming out from the center of the trunk. And for this one, I think we'll have it go a little bit further than the other one, so maybe we'll have it going straight across the back here. Again, we're just going to try to create a big square, basically. Don't want to come too far out because it won't look proportioned, but just connect all of your dots together in whichever way you sort of can. There we go, that's my square. It's bigger than the other one, but this is our top structure, so it makes sense that it would be. That looks about good. So for mine, it's 5 across this way and 5 across this way. A perfect 5 by 5 square, but you can see it's not centered on the trunk. The trunk is back here. So what I'll end up doing with this middle one here is I'll actually add a little bit of a support beam to it, just with some slabs like so coming out, so that it still looks like it's very supported onto the tree. This branch here helps with that as well, because it's actually integrated into the design. We can add some flooring to this now with some spruce stairs. Slabs. I'm also going to break these leaves up here because they are a little bit in the way. I'll leave the branch for now and see if I can work with it. And once again, 3 up all the way around in each corner. And then we're going to do that very organic shaping once again all the way around. Random slabs, as random as possible, please. These sort of designs just make me happy. Once you've got your super random roof, let's start filling it in. And let's actually get rid of that branch. I think we'll add in something for that a little bit later on. But for now, let's fill it all in with granite and then texture it with brick. There we go, another roof is in place. And we already have our entrance in here, which means we can take our trapdoors and actually just go all the way around with it. Just like so. Make sure you get all of those edges, even the tricky ones. I'm also going to place some trapdoors here as a little bit of an edge. Put a filler block like dirt or something right here and balance your trapdoors on it and then delete your filler block. This way, when you're coming up this way or coming up and down the ladder, you hit this side here rather than going overboard. Also, you could put one there if you want it to kind of fill in. Now for some of the finer details. Anywhere where we have these crosses here, I'm going to put a wall block. Maybe not right next to the trunk though. The ones that are more overhanging are the ones I'm targeting here. So not that one in there either. And then we're going to hang some lanterns with some fences. So I'm going to vary this. Again, nothing perfect about this. Each one I'm going to do a completely different length from the other. Let's do that one 3 as well. And then just hang a lantern off of all of them. There we have it. Now that is a treehouse if I've ever seen one. Very simple and very rustic and messy looking, which is an effect that I love. Now, let's turn our attention back to the fact that this is meant to be more of a customized tree. This weird poof of leaves at the top is a little strange. Each place where I left a branch, I'm just going to randomly place some leaves around. Not too many, I don't want to cover anything up. Punching lots of air in it as I go, making it look like birds could fly through, of course, as usual. Just very airy and fluffy. Yeah, something a little bit like that. This bottom one down here, of course, also needs some love. Lots of greenery going up around here. Of course, if you wanted, you can also droop some leaves or vines coming off of your actual house itself, just to make it look a bit more grown into the jungle. This is a personal preference thing, more of whatever you want. And you can also place some buttons on each of these corners. I personally love the fact that we have all of these button options, and I'm going to go with some junglewood buttons on the edges of mine. Now, let's address the weird poof of leaves at the top. This is a good opportunity for you to collect some jungle leaves because we're going to delete all of these and replace them in a way that we want. Of course, this step is completely optional. You have your jungle house now. If you want to stop there, go ahead. But for me, I like to customize things. Alright, once you're left with just this little stub at the top, we're just going to bring some branches off of that, kind of dragging them out every which way, not too far out. I don't want to get in over my head with having to place leaves here, but the leaves will be a lot easier to place if you get your branches correct. So just try to bend a whole bunch of branches, have some going upwards and some outwards, and just every which way to give you a little bit more of a foresty canopy. This is the sort of pattern that I ended up going with, but again, this is harder to do in a block by block tutorial because I want you to do it really randomly. Customize it the way that you want to have it. Once you are figuring that you have enough branches in place, maybe one more right there, let's place some leaves. So for this, once again, just placing leaves very, very randomly. What we don't want to do is this. We don't want to cover the branches completely in leaves and just have them stuck on with glue. If you're doing that, make sure you go back in with shears or something and punch lots of holes so it looks like it's very airy and that birds could fly through, things could live here. You get those rays of sun coming through your leaves. Space them out lots. Don't be afraid to really break a lot of leaves around here. It does take a little bit of getting used to placing them like this, but once you get your pattern down, it's easy to go around on all of your branches and get the job done. This leaf filling in process is going to take a little while, so be patient with yourself. There we have it. That is a much fluffier top of the tree. Of course, you can bring your branches every which way, however you want. I just wanted to do a simple customization to it that you can do yourself in any world. The best thing about this design for me is that it is very, very repeatable. As you can see, we have this tree over here. If we add a treehouse to this, we can have a bridge running between these branches. Now, let's set that up, shall we? Because I think that would be quite fun to do at the end of this tutorial. So the first thing I'm going to do on the second tree is, once again, just get rid of these branches because they're kind of in the way. I want my jungle houses to be a little bit exclusive, so for this one, I'm not going to do the spiral staircase up. I'm just going to start with a platform right away, but first I need to figure out where it's going to connect so that I can get an appropriate height of bridge here. So let's maybe connect it right here and just drag that straight across so that I can see where I'm going to land. Then I can once again prepare this area and start in with a platform. So just like before, kind of dragging a very, very simple area out, just making a square. And then going up by 3 once again and filling in the flooring. Once you have your platforms established, then it's time to work on the bridge. For the bridge, you're going to work on finding your center. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my center right here. Your center is your lowest point. So yeah, about there, probably. We're gonna sag this bridge all the way down. Then all we have to do then is just slowly bring it back up towards the points up here. Do this fairly organically. Again, things are pretty messy around here. I think you guys are pretty used to that by this point in this tutorial. So just have it kind of coming down, and then we'll pull that across like so. Again, very, very messy, not perfect in the slightest, but that's kind of how I like things. Once we have that, we can also punch a few holes in it in spots to make it look like it is kind of sagging down there a little bit more than it is and maybe falling apart. Let's fill that in. There we have it. That looks good. Now all I have to do with this is do exactly what I did with these roofs here and just fill it in. I love repeatable designs like this because it means that you can make an entire village out of it fairly quickly once you have your materials gathered. there you have it. Once you've repeated your second house, you should have something that looks a little bit like this. So our entrance to our main big base is here, and from here we can connect any bridges to any trees that you see around me. Of course, I don't have a whole forest here, so the next step is up to you. And of course, feel free to customize the top of this tree just like we did with that one. This is really a tutorial that can be bent in whichever way you want it. It's very customizable and easy to repeat wherever you're doing in your personal jungle. Anyways, everyone, that is all for this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and definitely let me know how this design worked out in your own worlds. I totally want to see it. Thank you so much for watching and supporting my channel, and I hope I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, everyone!